What is up, everybody? I'm the Retro Nerd, and welcome to the Retro Nerd's Top 10 Horror Movies. So, we're going to be running down a little list of my horror movies, and you're probably like, what the hell are you wearing? You got the Taggart for Law hat, Taggart for Law shirt, and I'm wearing the Toxicity robe. It's because I'm fucking hot as hell. So is the hat. But I wanted to try to do a horror movie one for the top 10, because I've been wanting to do a horror movie top 10. So let's get right into it with number 10. So number 10 is Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Now you're probably like, why'd you choose such a terrible horror movie? It's because I've seen Killer Clowns from Outer Space, and I used to be afraid of clowns when I was a kid, and to my early teens as well. I just did not like clowns. I thought they were creepy, but I got eventually over it. But I still love Killer Clowns from Outer Space, because just the sheer fact that it's one of those really terrible B horror movies. So that's one of the reasons why I like it. Number 9, Cujo. And you're like, Cujo? Why did you choose Cujo over It? Well, it's because It didn't really scare me that much, nor did The Shining. Shining's good, but to me, Cujo was a little bit more scary because it's like, yeah, a dog that's just on a rampage killing people because I think it had rabies. It's been a long time since I've seen Cujo, but I remember Cujo standing out in my mind a lot because of the killer dog attacking the mom and her kid, and then just having them trapped inside that car. It just stuck with me. Number 8, Scream. Now Scream was one of the movies from the 90s that it's like, oh, you remember the slasher in horror movies from the good old days, you know, like Friday the 13th and all that? Yeah, well, we're bringing it back with Scream. And, you know, with Scream, that was the first new sort of slasher slash horror character that's been invented for a long time, you know. Now they're just going back and reusing all these old horror characters, so it's troubling because you guys have no good ideas for horror movies. Okay, number 7, Alien. Now you're probably saying to yourself, wait, Alien's a sci-fi movie. Nope. Technically it's a sci-fi movie slash horror movie. Alien and Alien 3 are really good horror movies. Aliens is more of a sci-fi movie. Alien, being downright to the core, it's a horror movie just based in a sci-fi universe. But it's really, really haunting when you just have that big alien hunting everyone down. Sort of like how Jason goes around hunting the campers down one by one. So there you go, horror movie. Number 6, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The original, no remakes. So Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I remember watching this and just being disgusted with Leatherface, considering, you know, his fact is his mask is made out of human flesh. He collects toenails, all that weird stuff, makes lamp shades out of fucking human flesh. And the fact that this movie's it's got some truth to it, you know, because there was some sicko that was doing this in Texas. So, you know, just the fact that, you know, there was some nut job doing that out there. Number 5, Evil Dead. Now, Evil Dead was a good horror movie. I remember my buddy Will just kept persisting me to watch Evil Dead when we both worked together. And that's probably, I was probably in my 20s, and well, I'm still in my 20s, but I'm in my late 20s, because I'm about to be 29 next month, so. But it was like my early 20s, so he always just like, dude, you gotta watch Evil Dead. And I was like, I've never seen Evil Dead. Who's in it? He's like, Bruce Campbell. I was like, well, who's the director? He's like, Sam Raimi. I was like, oh, the guy that directed the Spider-Man movies. He's like, yeah, but this is better than the Spider-Man movies. He's like, okay, I'll give it a shot. Watched it, ended up loving it to death. Became one of my favorite horror movies. Evil Dead, I would consider a horror movie. Evil Dead 2 comedy/horror, because that's when it started getting dorky, and then Army of Darkness is straight up like comedy horror. Number 4, Friday the 13th. One of my favorites. I always loved Jason Voorhees movies, except until like Jason X and all that shit. That was too much for me. I was like, nope, nope, nope. But I love a lot of the original Friday the 13th. They're all good. Love them. Just Jason Voorhees is just a good character. I mean, he's just like Michael Myers, who, foreshadowing, just doesn't talk and doesn't have like an ego. He just goes and kills. A lot of these killers in these movies have egos and, talk too much and give away stuff and just they end up dying, So, the foreshadowing, like I said before. Number 3, Halloween. Love the Halloween movies, up until the point until like H2O. But it was cool that they brought, Jamie Lee Curtis back and all that for the H2O movie, but, having Busta Rhymes and all that shit. I think Busta Rhymes he was in H2O. There was another Halloween movie that he was in, but it was around the time they did H2O. But yeah, those ones were kind of horrible. I like the original Halloween with Mike Myers in it. Or Michael Myers. Fucking Mike Myers, Michael Myers. I fucking get confused because the names are so much alike. God, with Michael Myers. Not Mike Myers. Just imagine if Mike Myers did do Halloween, he'd be like, yeah, baby. Me stabbing you, turn you on, baby. Okay, number 2, Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy Krueger. He's on number 2 because he's not the one that started me liking horror movies / being scared when I was a kid of horror movies, but he is one of the reasons why. Because the fucking guy lives in your dreams, so every night when I fall asleep I'd be like, no, Freddy Krueger's gonna get me and all that shit. And speaking of Freddy Krueger, I gotta show these off. Freddy Krueger chopsticks that I got in my loot crate. Fucking sweet as fuck. I like these. But yeah, so, Freddy Krueger, I remember in one of the movies that my dad was watching and I just happened to walk in, I just see Freddy Krueger impale some dude into a bed of spikes. And the dude's just bleeding to death as Freddy Krueger, his sister, and taunts him. And that like always stuck in my mind that, I fall asleep, I'm going to have a bad dream, Freddy Krueger's going to kill me in my dream. And then I'm going to die in real life. That's what happens when I was a kid. Number 1, you're all going to be like, what, really? Really? Child's Play. Now, before I get all the hate, hear me out. I was born in 1987, so they had this toy line, a little bit into the 90s too, called My Buddy. Now I remember watching Child's Play when I was about, I want to say 4 or 5, maybe 3, 4 or 5, so probably 4 or 5. But I remember watching Child's Play and seeing Chucky, the fucking killer dies and gets in, his soul goes into the Chucky doll and all that shit. And starts killing people and goes after the kid, blah, 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 starts killing people and shit like that. For me, I used to own one of those My Buddy dolls. Look them up on Google, type in My Buddy, Try to find the one with the fucking blonde hair and the red suspenders, because that's going to be the closest thing to Chucky. But I had that exact same one, and he would sleep on the edge of my bed. So ever since I saw Child's Play, every night I would watch that doll on the ground, make sure he didn't fucking come alive and shit like that, and make sure he didn't try to kill me and my family. But I was fucking terrified of the doll, and fucking terrified of Chucky. But then after a while, you know, you start growing up and you start realizing, oh, that's fake blood. You know, you start realizing the movie aspect of the movie. But for, you know, when you're a kid, you're just like, oh shit, that doll's gonna come alive. What if my dolls come alive and start killing me, you know? That kind of stuff. So, yeah, that's my top 10 horror movies.